In terms of our site tours, we saw 3 different sites. First, we saw the Delano community. Significant community advocacy and organizing efforts over the last 15 years have led to the beginning of a cleanup effort.
It's unfortunate that we don't have many options on what to treat and dispose of the soil. So there is a need to, engage, and I'm hoping to hear more from community.
This is a mural that was painted in our town is very multicultural, so this is what it represents. This was ours, and it opened the doors for many of us to get higher education and now children, and that's something that we have to be aware of and keep fighting for. No matter what, we can't become complacent. And I think if anything, that is the moral of the story that we learned with Cesar and Dolores and Larry and many of our leaders that began this fight, and that's why we're all here today. So, si se puede!
Dry cleaners, often, many across California, have contaminated soils and groundwater with fluorides, TCE, PCE. And so there are 3 dry cleaners in Delano that are thought to have contributed to the plume. The concentrations underground are the highest around these 3 dry cleaners.
So every single soil vapor extraction system is unique to an area. So the way it works, I always try to describe it, it works like a huge vacuum that is bringing all those airs, pulling them to this location, and then through here, these green things right here that you see, these are carbon filters that over a certain time we replace them. Essentially, it has carbon inside. It collects all that contamination, and then once it goes into the atmosphere, it is no longer a threat. It's just gone. Like, it's not like you can still see it.
We then viewed the Shafter, Brown, and Bryan site. Again, this was I personally learned a lot from this site. So we often talk about what concrete capping in place looks like. So Jeannie and I, along with the other community members, got to see it. And what we saw was we saw a field that looked like it had concrete on it, but vegetation growing through the cracks in the concrete. So that obviously raises the question of what does the maintenance look like for concrete caps? Is that a good enough solution, protective solution for the communities? And then, of course, what are the potential contamination that might be happening in situations where the concrete cap is failing, either due to rains or other weather conditions. So that's the next site we saw. We also unfortunately observed that there was a chain link fence trying to keep the community out from this Shafter site, but the signage wasn't great. The one sign that had DTSC's information was not even attached to the chain link fence. It was in fact put face down. So again, clearly a lot that can be done just from a protection perspective, better signage and maintenance of the site.
Y es por eso que luchamos por ayudar a nuestra comunidad, para que se nos escuche, porque ahorita somos nosotros, al rato nuestras generaciones que vienen, que tengan una mejor consistencia de vida y un agua mejor, un aire mejor. Pero sí se puede, podemos seguir adelante porque sí se puede.
Color and low-income communities were devalued and neglected was apparent to me, very apparent to me. That our health was not a priority, that we were not seen as worthy or entitled to protection, but we have always been, and will forever be, worthy of consideration, protection, and health.
It's pretty easy. We're not even asking for new laws. We're asking them to enforce existing laws that are supposed to protect the community. And, I'm angry, but it's nothing compared to these communities that have struggled for decades, and people get burnt out. It's hard to maintain this level of, indignation. And then people say, oh, the communities don't care. They don't come to meetings. They don't want to know. But the truth is that they're burnt out.
and the agencies have it in their hands to remedy that. We shouldn't have to be in these toxic tours. We should be on these tours saying, look at these sites that were closed that are no longer harming communities.
We keep hearing the same stories in communities. So the problem's not, the community is overreacting or they're not understanding. It's obvious when we start hearing the same things over and over and over again, that there are some systematic problems with how we handle hazardous waste in California, both on the remediation side of things and on the permitting side of things.
So together as representatives of the Environmental Justice Toxics Tour organizations and advocates, we are showing up in solidarity with one another as we build power and continue to show the agency what it means to be on the front lines. We are advocating for the agency to meaningfully address the legacy of contamination in a way that prevents and protects our communities from future exposures. The agency must look at the life cycle of toxic chemicals from extraction, production, product use, and disposal in a way that will promote safer alternatives that prevent harm. Together, we can work on creating reforms that are benign by design, eliminate harmful exposures, and repair the extractive economy.
We represent the public. That's our job, right? We act to protect the public and health and to reduce the risk of toxic exposure with a focus on disproportionately burdened and vulnerable communities. That's our overarching mandate. That's what we hold most dear.